Welcome back. Here we are for part 23 on how to build a neck-through base. Today is the oil finish. This is one of my favorite parts of every single build, the oil finish. In the videos leading up to this one, we've done everything that has led to what you see. The base is now sanded. I've inspected it thoroughly, made sure that all the little finite scratches are gone and everything is exactly where I want it. If you missed the sanding videos, there's two of them, go back and check those out. Part 22 and part 22.2. I had to split them up, it was so long. Alright, once you've sanded your base to 600 grit and you've wiped it down with either some 4/0 steel wool or a Scotch-Brite pad and blown the dust out of the grain, you're ready for oil. And there's a lot of different oil types of oil mixtures that are out there. What I would suggest is find what works for you. There's boiled linseed oil, there's teak oil, there's tung oil, there's true oil, all kinds of things you can use. I personally use a mixture of teak oil with a little bit of thinner and some not semi-gloss, the satin poly, just a tiny bit. But most of the time, if I don't have the poly around, I'll just use the teak oil with a little bit of thinner. And what I've done to prepare for today is I've cut a little piece of t-shirt out, got my gloves on. You want to use nitrile gloves. And oh, don't want to knock the stand over. Bear with me. Okay. And you want to have a generally clean area, somewhere that's dedicated to the occasional spill or oil dripping. You don't want to do this on your nice antique kitchen table. All right, you want to do this in a place that has a few layers of padding down. You want it to be a soft padded area. T-shirts, you name it, just pad it up really well. Going to apply a little bit of the oil right onto this piece of cloth. And then I'm just going to put some down inside of the electronics cavities. I do the back of the instrument first. That's just the way I do it. You could certainly do the front first. And you want to give the inside of the electronics cavity wall just a good coating of oil. That's really all we're going to concentrate on for those, simply because they're not going to be visible to the outside once everything is wired up and the cover has gone on. But it is nice to know that that wood is actually sealed and not just wide open to the elements as far as temperature change, humidity, all of that. So you want every surface to have a coating of this oil. Once I've done that, I've got plenty on here, so I'm going to go ahead and start down near the tail end. Just using small circular motions. Just gently rub that in. And you want to carefully roll over to the sides of the instrument. You want to be sure you're not gobbing on tons of oil because it can run. If it runs, it'll drip over to the front and create a little streak that's hard to blend out. So I'd say use it sparingly. You can always reapply. If you need a little more, just go to the lip on the electronics cavity cover. There's plenty of oil pulled up there. This is a relatively simple process. It's something I would never want someone to overthink. There's just a few things you want to maybe avoid, like we talked about. So if you drop the little piece of cloth onto your dirty shop floor, do not pick it up and reuse it. Get another one, cut one out quickly, and resume applying the oil with a clean piece of cloth. Do not use something that's dirty. You're going to just rub scratches all over your instrument. And then you're working backwards. And I've dropped these plenty of times. Don't even give it a second look, just let it go. Okay, we're going to put a little bit in here to the pickup cavities. You want to be sure and just coat the entire side wall and inside of those pickup cavities. For those of you that are watching this video live, this base is available through Dan Leonard at Luthier's Access Group. So hit Dan up if you're interested in purchasing this base. This is one that he ordered to showcase in his company, and he'll have it up for sale at a lovely price. If you're watching this video long after it has been posted, the base is likely sold, and if you want something like this, reach out to me. Alright, so once that's all covered, just go over, be sure you got everything. Go over the sides. That's usually the first place I'll miss something, is on the sides. That all looks good. Now for the back of the neck. Go ahead and get the inside of those tuner holes. Side of the headstock. Flip that over. Front of the headstock. I will run just a tiny drop of oil down that channel so that it gets where the opening of the truss rod channel is. And then quickly sop that up. I don't want it running down into the neck, but I just wanted to coat that immediate surface. And then I'll just put some on the fingerboard. That's about all I do to the fingerboard, is just one coat. Then take a dry, clean t-shirt or a cloth, whatever your choice is. Let me get some spots I missed here. Oh, I missed a few. All right, here we go. Now we're covered. Take a t-shirt. First thing I go after is the fingerboard. I don't want gobs of oil residue drying on in between those frets, because it's a big hassle to get that off later. I want the oil to get on there, penetrate in, do what it needs to do, and the excess gets wiped off. And that's really the idea with the oil finish in general, is the wood drinks up what it needs, the excess is wiped off. It's a very thin, minimal finish that allows the wood to resonate like wood. I prefer the tone of my bases with an oil finish over the clear, the hard spray finish, although the spray finish looks amazing. The fit and finish of those is just something else. Tonally, I prefer the oil finish. The instruments tend to be more dynamically sensitive. Your quietest quiets, pianissimo, is really gonna do that for you. And then your louds are wide open. There's no ceiling. Things aren't overly compressed. And we're talking a slight difference here between the two finishes. But most average music goers are not going to be able to stand out in the audience and say, it sounds like that bass has an oil finish versus a clear finish. You really hear some openness in the transient response. No. Okay. Wiping this down. Main thing I'm focusing on at this point is try to get a little point down into these corners and sop up any oil that has pooled up down in those cavities. All right. Now this is going to get more coats of oil. Depending on the humidity, that'll determine the drying or the curing time between coats. I generally give every coat at least 1 day. Sometimes when it's extremely humid, it takes a little longer, and I'll give them 2 days per coat. I won't really be able to show you this all in one video, so I'll just tell you the process. After this dries, I'll get it down. I'll feel the surface first with my bare hands, and if I notice there's anything uneven, I'll give those a gentle sanding with like some 1500 grit sandpaper, very, very gentle, and then put on another coat, wipe it down, do the same thing. Gentle sanding in between coats until everything stands and looks nice. Generally, somewhere between 4 to 6 coats is what I give my instruments, and that will take place basically for the rest of this week, as today is Tuesday. Okay, thanks for watching. We'll have some fun stuff for part 24, so stick around for that. See you soon.